Hey! It looks like I got one for you. Let me grab my board. Where from? Oh, I know what that is.
Do you know what that is?
Oh, yeah, dude. I've been waiting for this one for a long time.
Good. Thanks, brother.
No problem. You have a good day.
Thanks, man. You
You
too.
stay out of trouble.
Absolutely.
All right. See you later. Well, guys, whatever I was working on, I ain't working on it anymore. Hi everybody, welcome back to the shop. FX Crown in the house. Really excited about this one. I've been looking forward to this rifle for a long time. So here it is, finally in my hands. And I gotta tell you, from just shooting it yesterday, my day one was yesterday, it's pretty impressive. It's really pretty impressive. So today I'm going to take the stock off of it. I want to tear it down a little bit in order to put on a Atlas rail. I've got another video showing how to install a rail onto your rifle stock, so just reference that. I'm not going to do that in this video. I'm just going to go over the rifle itself. As you can see, I got it scoped already, so I'm going to remove that. So now that I have my scope removed, let's go over the rifle. We've got the FX Crown. This is a 25 caliber walnut stock, gorgeous walnut stock. I think I really lucked out and got maybe, I don't know, maybe it's an experimental grade too, because this thing is gorgeous. This is your hammer spring wheel here, and this is your transfer port. Let's call it a transfer port restrictor, because that's basically what it's doing. It's making the hole larger or smaller depending on where you have it. I've got it set to 2 and B setting in the back, but I won't be shooting it today. On the other side is your safety. Works kind of like an AR-15 safety. I'll leave that on safe. And your cocking handle, of course. Your bottle is good for 250 bar. So go ahead and fill it up. And, well, this is a cool thing. I like how FX did this. I think this is an improvement over previous designs. The shroud extends by simply pulling it forward, and then you can lock it in place. In addition to just being a home point, a lock in place, you use that lock in order to remove the shroud to get to the barrel to eventually, if you want, remove the sleeve. So put it in lock position and then counterclockwise, and it unscrews right off of there. Now what I would do, you hear all that, what I would do is put something here like fingers or whatever just to guide this so you don't accidentally scratch your barrel. And the same thing for coming back on. For all you guys that are curious, I'll take it all the way off. The O-ring is pretty snug here at the end, so just you may want to unscrew it off or something like that. So there's the end of the barrel. You know, there's nothing, no magic going on inside here. I'm not going to take it down the barrel. I'm not going to take down any further because I don't have any sleeves, so I don't have any reason to take this down any further. Does the shroud work? Yeah, it works pretty good, guys. Now, as you can see, I was pushing back and it came off lock, so I'll just take this back piece, find lock again. There it is. Screw it back, snug it down, hand tight, and that's it. Here's the magazine you're going to get with the FX Crown. It is an FX impact magazine, except it's a mirror image. The impact magazines fit, but they sit incredibly high. If you put an impact mag in here, you're going to be like way up in that area. Whereas the Crown magazine slides in at an angle, and it's a little bit lower. So I think you still need high scope rings for this, for most scopes. And that's that. Regulator is adjustable, but it's hidden in here. You'd have to take the stock off. I'm not going to mess with my regulator. I don't have any plans to just yet. Also, this is your bottle gauge. Plastic cover over your fill port. And then this is your regulator pressure gauge. So let's get to taking the stock off. Just to make the gun lighter, I'm going to remove the bottle. You should hear a slight hiss like that, and that's about it. Bottle's off. Now this is where it kind of gets important, because there's little tiny parts and you don't want to lose them. I've got a number 2mm Allen key, and I'm going to go in the center of my power wheel. Okay guys, so I got my number 2 wrench here. Another thing you may want to grab is some type of magnet that you can use for the small parts behind the power wheel. Unscrew that. Now this is a little bit loose because I had it half apart, and then I decided to throw this video together. Carefully remove your power wheel. Your bolt's going to fall out if you turn it over. These 2 little steel balls, they're only held in by the grease that's on the back of this wheel. So you want to be very careful with that, or just be secure with them and put them on the magnet. Also right here and right there are these 2 little springs. Just take them out so they don't fall out on you. I had one fall out on me, and I was almost had to search far and wide for it. I got lucky. Power wheel is removed. Now let's flip it over. We'll do the safety. This is going to be a 2.5mm. And if you're on safe and you go to unscrew this, it's just going to flop over to fire anyway. I like to support it here a little bit, just so I'm not putting extra strain on the internals of the rifle, but it's not going to hurt anything if you do. Okay, there's your safeties off. You see how here on the bottom it's got the 2 flat areas, so it fits a certain way and it won't go in any other way. Now turn your rifle over. I want to take this bolt out last, screw out last. And the reason I want to do that is this is right around the gauges, and I've had these gauges, I've had the plastic pop off on me, and they get a little buggered up, and I'd rather avoid that. So that's why I want to do this bolt last. So we'll take out the rear stock bolt. Comes out pretty quick. It's long. And this brass piece, it stands a chance to fall out. It's not held in by anything. You can take a chance with it falling out or not, depending on what you're doing. I'm going to be working on this stock later today, so I'm going to flip this over and tap it till it falls out. Don't know if I mentioned that was a number 3mm Allen key, and the last one is going to be a number 4mm. Take that out. Another hand to use for the magnet. And that's that. Now this one, again, this one's loose as well, this little brass piece. So we'll flip this guy over. Oops. And there's that. I didn't mean to let it flop like that. Because because I want to, like I said, I want to be very careful when I take this off, not to bugger up my gauges. Put my stock aside. Look at all the detail work in here. I'd hate to do this by hand. That is a lot of work. So now that I've got the stock off, I can show you guys the regulator adjustment, which I believe is this right here. Again, I'm not going to adjust mine, but it only makes sense that it's right there. And also the trigger is a fully adjustable match grade trigger. It's got the little Allen screws in it, as well as the blade is adjustable. I believe it's adjustable forward and back, and then up, down with this one, as well as angle. So you can tune this real nice to yourself and how you want to shoot. If we flip the action over, you can see these three bolts right here. Sorry, screws. These are a number 3. Now, I'm taking these two out, I'm leaving this one in. And what's going to happen is I'll be able to pull the barrel once I take these out. And to be honest, you probably don't even have to take them out all the way. Oh, snug that one up good. There we go. And now carefully and slowly, I can remove my barrel. And since you're pulling in this direction, it might be best if you had your shroud extended all the way. As you can see, a bunch of grease in here. Keep things running smoothly, and you can also see the alignment slot right there. And there's your transfer port, of course. That alignment slot's going to line up with this little silver post right here. And that just makes sure that your barrel is in at the right depth, it's at the right angle every time. Compared to the Royale series, where you would take out this third bolt screw and you would actually look for an indent on your brass, and you'd have to line all that up perfect. The Crown has made that easy. Here's another neat thing that FX has done with the Crown. They mark their probe size. I think that's a considerable upgrade to the Impact. Not a big deal for you if you're not swapping calibers a whole bunch, but still, I think it's a good upgrade, and I'm really glad that they did that. I believe this is how to take the probe out, but I don't have any different calibers, and I don't have any different sleeves. So right now, we're just going to leave that just how it is. On the power wheel side, you can see this area in here closely resembles the Impact. Well, now that I have my Crown taken apart, I'm going to go ahead and install my Atlas rail. One thing I want to point out for Atlas rail users is it's a tight fit here. It's just enough to get that Atlas rail on there. But if you look on the other side, in a couple things actually, this is only 5/16 thick, so we may end up having to use helicoil or some other type of thread insert to really get a good bite on this. But the good news is, at right about, let's see, call that about 1.75 inches, it starts to get thick really quick. And if you're installing, in this case, the Atlas, that rear screw is going to be way in the back where this is really, really thick. So that's a great anchor point. What I'm going to do on mine, just to help with that strain on this front part, the Atlas has its slots kind of on one side, and that's so that you can use a sling stud. I don't plan on using a sling stud with this. It's got the thumb hole stock, so if I'm woods walking or something, I can do something different than use the sling stud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount this so that I can't put my bipod as far forward as I would if it was on this way, and that'll put that should bring the strain back a little bit towards the screw that has a little more meat to grab. And if I find that it's strong regardless and it's not really giving me any trouble at all, I can always just take the atlas off, spin it around, and put it right back on the other way. So I'll check in with you guys after I install my rail, and I'll go through the reassembly procedure. Alright guys, now that that's all done, reassembly process. Take my breech and just slide it down in there. Something I like about the Crown over the Royale is with the Royale sometimes these stocks are really tight and you had to really push your action back down in there. With the Crown, it just slides right in. Nice and easy. Alright, I need these two little brass pieces and some bolts. And just like I did when I took it apart, I'm going to put it back together around these gauges first. Just snug it up for now so that I know everything lines up. This brass one in the back can be a little tricky to put in, and sometimes it falls right in. As I mentioned earlier, your safety has these two little flat spots. You want to look inside there and make sure that you're lining everything up just how it needs to be. I'm noticing as I'm putting this together that to do this in the most secure way for the rifle, and at least in my mind, where you take this bolt out last, what I'm finding is you're actually just following your wrench size. So in the disassembly process, I started with a number 2, then 2.5, 3, and 4. For reassembly, I'm going 4, 3, 2.5, 2. So that might be a nice, easy way to remember just what you got going on. Drop your springs in. Now the ball, I'm going to put the ball on in the grease. Since the grease did a good job of holding it in place. And I'm also going to put it in to where this side here is going to be your max setting, max power, and this side here is going to be your minimum. So, oh, that one fell out. Easy to lose these. Since that ball fell out and I really don't want to lose it, I'm just going to pause you here for a second, put on a little bit of grease in this area to hold that ball stuck in place. I haven't actually tried this, so let me try, see if it lands in the spot. It does. It lands nicely in that spot. So skip the grease. Make sure that one doesn't fall out. And then just find your landing location. And you'll feel it because what you do is you push down a little bit and you compress those springs with the balls, and then try to give it a little turn. Don't actually turn it, just try to give it, and if it turns pretty freely, then you're probably, one of your balls has moved or something went wrong in there. Snug it down. Everything sounds good, so now I'm going to tighten it down. Wonderful. Good and snug. So at this point, it's kind of up to you what you want to do, if you want to put the barrel in next or you want to put your bottle on. For me, since I can see the threads and I don't have to stop from fishing around with the barrel and such, I'm just going to go ahead and put my bottle on. This blue tape, this blue painter's tape, I put it on the bottle just to protect any kind of dust from getting in there. When I'm working on the rifle, I'm going to make some dust. She goes flop, and the bottle's installed. Easy, like I said, now the barrel has this indent and also your transfer port that will go on the bottom. So gently slide it in. Now you're not forcing this thing, you just gently slide it in. And you'll feel the O-rings pop as they go in, and then slowly twist it until you get that last little thunk. I'll do that again so you can see. I'm also looking at my little indents from my set screws. Nice and easy. I'm off a little bit, clunk, and that's in place. You don't have to do anything else. And now I'll reinstall these set screws. I'm going to put these in tight. I'm not going to just snug them up easy. I'm going to put them in tight, but I'm also not going to wrench on them, or use a cheater bar or anything like that. I don't want my barrel to move at all because that's going to throw off my POI, but at the same time, I also don't want to drive these things in like a madman. So kind of a balance act there. I'm sure there's a torque setting. I don't know what it is yet. Now I just need to put my scope back on. Well guys, there you go. This was just meant to be a quick introduction to the FX Crown. As parts come available, such as sleeves, maybe different calibers, stuff like that, I'll try to go over that if I get those extra parts. And also, it's a tear down and rebuild so that you can do your own maintenance at home on your new Crown. As always, happy shooting and thanks for watching. Hi guys. After making that video, I sat down to do some crony work and I realized I didn't mention something, or a few things actually, but get yourself a journal. If you're going to get an FX Crown or an FX Impact, there's so many ways to tweak and tune these rifles with power settings, calibers, and even the regulator is externally adjustable. Get a journal. As soon as you get the rifle, write everything down, what the factory settings are. It's another good idea to get yourself a set of cheap, high-level scope rings. They should be like 15 or 20 bucks. If you get a set of cheap highs, it'll tell you if high is high enough. Do you need extra high? Do you need mediums? I don't think you're going to be able to use this unless you're single shot loading, which there's not a dedicated single shot loader for this rifle yet. If you're single shot loading, then you can use, probably lows, but you won't be able to use a magazine. These are highs. It allows me to use the Crown mag, the Royale mags, and for 20 bucks, it's a small investment that will allow you to then buy the rings that you really want, which might be more expensive, like say the FX No Limits or the Sports Match style rings that cost more because they're a higher quality. This will get you rolling. After that, get out to the range, man. Shoot and have fun. Again, hope you enjoyed this video as usual. It's just a quick introduction to the crown.